Thank you for joining another math lesson hosted by Book&Table. I am your math tutor, Maurice Wright, and this is practice set number 1 to our linear equations chapter. In this video, you will complete 28 questions that will help you practice everything from calculating the slope of a line to calculating the equation of a line, given a point and the slope of the line, 2 points along that line. And you'll also be completing questions that help you practice calculating the equation of a parallel line, a perpendicular line, as well as sketching linear equations and inequalities. Should you have any follow-up questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, or you can contact a tutor in your neighborhood by visiting bookandtable.com or by downloading our app on the App Store. Question number 1. What is the slope of the line? So you're going to calculate the slope of this line, given that the first point is -1, -2, and the second point is 0, 2. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract the second y-coordinate from the first y-coordinate. So our first y-coordinate is -2. Our second one is +2. So -2 minus 2 will give us -4 in our numerator, our delta y, or our change in y. We see we're changing our y value from -2 to +2. That is a total distance of 4. Step 2, subtract the second x-coordinate from the first x-coordinate. That would be -1 minus 0. That would be our delta x, which is then -1. We see we've traveled a total horizontal distance of 1, going from -1 to 0. And now the last step, step 3, divide the delta y, your numerator, by the delta x, your denominator. -4 divided by -1 would give you +4. Question number 2. What is the slope of the line? The first point is -4, 5. The second point is 2, -7. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. The point furthest to the left on the x-axis is -4, 5, so I'll use this as our first point. The point further along the x-axis to the right is 2, -7, so I'll use this as our second point. Step 1, subtract the second y-coordinate from the first y-coordinate. So 5 minus -7 is our delta y, our numerator. 5 minus -7 becomes 5 plus 7, which is +12. So the change in y, we are going from -7 to the x-axis. That's a total distance of 7. And from here to 5 is another 5. So that's a total distance of 12. Step 2, subtract the second x-coordinate from the first x-coordinate. That would be -4 minus 2. A total horizontal distance of 6, but your delta x would be -4 minus 2, which is -6. Step 3, divide the delta y by the delta x. 12 divided by -6 would then give you a slope of -2. Question number 3. What is the slope of the line? The first point is -1, -10. The second point is 2, +8. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract the second y-coordinate from the first y-coordinate. That would be negative 10 minus 8 as our delta y, and that would be negative 18. Step 2, subtract the second x-coordinate from the first x-coordinate. That would be negative 1 minus 2 in the denominator, or delta x, and that would be negative 3. Step 3, divide the delta y, negative 18, by the delta x, negative 3. Negative 18 divided by negative 3 would give you a slope of positive 6. Question number 4. What are the slope and y-intercept? So the linear equation we are given is y minus 4x is equal to 7. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So for this question, you are given the equation of a line in standard form. Your x and y variables are on one side with a constant on the other. So if you want to figure out the slope and the y-intercept, you want to change this equation from standard form to slope-intercept form. So we want y isolated on one side of the equation, our x term on the other with a constant. So step 1, we have y minus 4x is equal to 7. So we add 4x to both sides. This negates the negative 4x, isolating y on the left side of the equation. And now we have positive 4x plus 7 on the right side. Again, keep the x term first, just so it's easier to look at the equation in y is equal to mx plus b form. M is the coefficient of x, that is your slope. And b is the y-intercept, the constant, along with the x term. So the slope of this line is positive 4. And the y-intercept of this line is positive 7. Convert the line from standard form to slope-intercept form. The slope is the coefficient of x. The y-intercept is the constant, as long as y is isolated on the other side of the equation. Let's have a look at question number 5. What are the slope and y-intercept? So you're given the line 2y minus 10x is equal to 6. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So we'd like to isolate y on the left side of the equation. So step 1, add 10x to both sides. This gets rid of the negative 10x on the left side and brings positive 10x to the right side of the equation, leaving you with 2y is equal to 10x plus 6. Now step 2, to get rid of this coefficient of 2, you want to divide both sides by 2. This isolates y on the left side of the equation. And on the right side, we have 10x divided by 2, which will give you positive 5x. Positive 6 divided by 2 will give you positive 3. So now that we have the equation in slope-intercept form, we see that the slope, the coefficient of x, is positive 5. And the y-intercept is positive 3. Question number 6. What are the slope and y-intercept? We have the line 2y plus 5x is equal to negative 20. Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract 5x from both sides. This leaves you with 2y on the left side of the equation and negative 5x minus 20 on the right side. We want to get rid of this coefficient 2. So step 2, divide both sides by 2. This gives us negative 5x over 2 on the left side, and negative 20 divided by 2, which is negative 10. So now that we have it in y is equal to mx plus b form, we see that m, our slope, is negative 5/2, and our y-intercept is negative 10. Question number 7. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 1, 1 and has a slope equal to negative 3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So for this question, you will need to use the point slope form to find the equation of this line. So the point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So step 1 is to replace x1 and y1 with the point that we were given, which was 1, 1. Y minus 1, give us y minus 1 on the left side. X minus 1 would give us m times x minus 1 on the right. And now step 2, replace m with negative 3, since m is our slope. And now with this equation, if we isolate y on the left side of the equation, that would give us the equation of the line that passes through 1, 1 and has a slope equal to negative 3. So the next step, step 3, is to distribute this negative 3 to each term inside of these parentheses, x and negative 1. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3, giving us an equation of y minus 1 is equal to negative 3x plus 3. Step 4, add 1 to both sides to get rid of this negative 1. And that would give you y is equal to negative 3x. 3 plus 1 is 4. So the final equation of the line is y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. Question number 8. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point negative 1, negative 8 and has a slope equal to 5? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, replace x1 and y1 with the point that was provided, negative 1 and negative 8. When we plug in negative 8 for y1, we get y minus negative 8. When we plug in negative 1 for x, 1, we get x minus negative 1, which is the same as x plus 1. We now want to replace m with the slope 5. So now we have the information we need to find the equation of the line. So step 3, distribute the 5 to each term inside the parentheses here. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times positive 1 is positive 5. So that leaves us with the equation y minus negative 8, which is y plus 8, is equal to 5x plus 5. We want to get rid of this positive 8. So step 4 is to subtract 8 from both sides. Positive 5 minus 8 is negative 3. So that shows us that the equation of the line that passes through negative 1, negative 8 and has a slope of positive 5 is y is equal to 5x minus 3. Question number 9. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -2, 4 and has a slope equal to 2? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, replace x1 and y1 in the point slope form with the point provided. So you'll replace x1 with -2, and you'll replace y1 with +4. So we get y minus 4 is equal to m times x minus -2 becomes x plus 2. And now step 2, replace m with our slope 2. Step 3, distribute the 2 to each term. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times +2 is +4. So that leaves us with y minus 4 is equal to 2x plus 4. We want to get rid of this -4. So step 4, add 4 to both sides. 4 plus 4 is +8. So that gives us an equation of y is equal to 2x plus 8. Question number 10. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -3, 11 and has a slope equal to -2/3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, replace x1 with -3. X minus -3 becomes x plus 3. And replace y1 with 11, giving us y minus 11 on the left side. Step 2, replace m with the slope -2/3. So we have y minus 11 is equal to -2/3 times x plus 3. Step 3, distribute the -2/3 to each term. -2/3 times x is -2x over 3. 2 is the numerator, so it's -2 times x. Then we have -2/3 times +3. Negative times a positive is negative. 2 times 3 is 6 over 3. Minus 6 over 3 is the same as -2. So we have y minus 11 is equal to -2x over 3 minus 2. And we want to get rid of this -11 on the left side. So we add 11 to both sides. -2 plus 11 is +9. So the equation of the line we were seeking is y is equal to -2x over 3 plus 9. Question number 11. What is the equation of the line that includes the points 0, -9 and 2, -1? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So when you are provided 2 points along a line, you will use the 2 points given to calculate the slope of the line. And then you use the slope and either of these points in the point slope form to figure out the equation of the line that you are looking for. So we'll first need to calculate the slope. So you can do this by this point minus this point, or you can do this point minus this point. This first calculation will be this first point provided minus the second point. This one will be this point minus this one, since the final slope will be the same. I just want to show you both. So step 1, subtract the second y coordinate from the first y coordinate. So you can do negative 9 minus negative 1. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. Or you can do negative 1 minus negative 9. Negative 1 minus negative 9 becomes negative 1 plus 9, which is positive 8. So your delta y would have been negative 8 or positive 8. And now step 2, subtract the second x-coordinate from the first x-coordinate. So in this one, we did this point minus this point. So in the denominator, we have to do the same thing. This minus this. So 0 minus 2 gives us negative 2 in the denominator. Here, we did this minus this. So we have 2 minus 0 in the denominator here to give us positive 2. And now step 3, divide the delta y by the delta x. So negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4. And positive 8 divided by positive 2 is positive 4 as well. So we get the slope of the line is equal to positive 4. And now we'll use the point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1 with our first point provided, 0, negative 9. Or you could use the point slope form with the second point, 2, negative 1. So I'll show you both, and we'll wind up with the same equation, regardless of which point we use. So step 4, replace x1 with 0, and replace y1 with negative 9. Step 5, replace m with positive 4. Now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. Step 6, distribute the 4 to each term. 4 times 0 will be 0, so we won't need to do that one. 4 times x gives us 4x. So we wind up with y plus 9 is equal to 4x. We want to get rid of this 9. So step 7, subtract 9 from both sides. And we get y is equal to 4x minus 9. If we used the second point instead, 2, negative 1, then step 4 would have been replace x2 with 2 and replace y2 with negative 1. Step 5, replace m with positive 4. We have the information we need now to figure out the equation of the line. So we want to distribute this 4 to each term. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So we have y plus 1 is equal to 4x minus 8. To get rid of this positive 1, we'll subtract 1 from both sides. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. So we wind up with y is equal to 4x minus 9. So we got the same equation with both the points. So again, if you are given 2 points along a line, first use the 2 points to calculate the slope, and then use the slope in either point given in the point slope form to figure out the equation of the line. Question number 12. What is the equation of the line that includes the points negative 4, negative 2, and 4, 4? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So first we must calculate the slope. Here we'll do this point minus this point. And here we'll do this point minus this point. And our final slopes will wind up being the same. Step 1, subtract the second y-coordinate from the first y-coordinate. Negative 2 minus 4 will be our delta y, or our numerator here. So negative 2 minus 4 would give you negative 6. Or you can do 4 minus negative 2. That would give you a delta y of positive 6. Step 2, subtract the second x coordinate from the first x coordinate. So negative 4 minus 4 would be our denominator here. That would give us negative 8. Or you would get 4 minus negative 4 in the denominator here, and that would give you positive 8. And for step 3, when we divide delta y by delta x, we see that the final slope here will be positive 3/4. Negative divided by negative is positive. And here we'll get positive 3/4 as well, which is the same in decimal form as 0.75. And now we'll use this slope in either point provided, negative 4, negative 2, or 4, 4, in the point slope form to figure out the equation of this line. So step 4, replace x1 with negative 4. X minus negative 4 will become x plus 4. Replace y1 with negative 2. Y minus negative 2 will become y plus 2. We'll replace m, the slope, with 0.75. And now step 6, distribute 0.75 to each term in here. 0.75 times x is 0.75x. 0.75 times positive 4 is positive 3. So we wind up with y plus 2 is equal to 0.75x plus 3. To get rid of this positive 2, step 7 will be subtract 2 from both sides. So we can solve this using slope in decimal form. I wanted to show you using a fraction and a decimal. It's the same process. So with slope in decimal form, we wind up with the equation y is equal to 0.75x plus 1. If your teacher wants this as a fraction, 0.75 is equivalent to 3/4. So the same line would be y is equal to 3x over 4 plus 1. So this is the equation of the line if we use the first point. You could have also used the second point, 4, 4, with the point slope form, and we'll still get y is equal to 3x over 4 plus 1. So we replace x2 with 4, and we replace y2 with 4, and we replace m with 0.75. And now step 6, distribute 0.75 to each term in here. 0.75 times x is 0.75x. 0.75 times negative 4 is negative 3. So we have y minus 4 is equal to 0.75x minus 3. To get rid of this negative 4, we will add 4 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 4 is positive 1. So again, we get y is equal to 0.75x plus 1, which is the same as y is equal to 3x over 4 plus 1. So using the first or the second point yields the same final equation. Question number 13. What is the equation of the line that includes the points -1, 7 and 3, -13? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So first we will use the 2 points to calculate the slope of the line. Here, I'll do this point minus this point. And here, I'll do this point minus this point. The final slopes will be the same. Step 1, subtract the second y coordinate from the first y coordinate. So that gives us 7 minus -13 as our delta y here, which is positive 20. Or we would get -13 minus 7 as our delta y here, which is equal to -20. Step 2, subtract the second x coordinate from the first x coordinate. So we get -1 minus 3 as our delta x, and that's equal to -4. Here, we have this point minus this point, so we would have 3 minus -1. 3 minus -1 is the same as 3 plus 1, which is 4. And now step 3, divide the delta y by the delta x. 20 divided by -4 is -5. -20 divided by 4 is -5. So we see the slope is -5. And now we use the slope in the first point in the point slope form, or we can use the second point in the slope in point slope form, and we'll wind up with the equation of this line. Step 4, replace x1 in the point slope form with the x-coordinate of our point, -1. X minus -1 is the same as x plus 1. Y minus 7 on the left-hand side. Step 5, replace m with -5. Now we have the information we need to figure out this equation. So step 6, distribute the -5 to each term. -5 times x is -5x. -5 times 1 is -5. So we have y minus 7 is equal to -5x minus 5. And now step 7, to get rid of this -7, you want to add 7 to both sides. -5 plus 7 is +2. So the equation of the line that includes these 2 points are y is equal to -5x plus 2. And you will get the same equation if you use the second coordinate provided instead, 3, -13. So step 4 would be replace x2 with 3. And to replace y2 with -13. Step 5, replace m with -5. And now step 6, distribute the -5 to each term here. -5 times x is -5x. -5 times -3 is +15. Y minus -13 is y plus 13. And that's equal to -5x plus 15. To get rid of this plus 13, we want to subtract 13. 15 minus 13 is +2. So again, we wind up with the same equation. Y is equal to -5x plus 2. Question number 14. What is the equation of the line that includes the points -1, -7, and 4, 3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract the second y-coordinate from the first y-coordinate. So in your numerator, you want your delta y. So you would get -7 minus 3, which would give you -10. Or you can do 3 minus -7. 3 minus -7 becomes 3 plus 7, which gives you +10. Then you need your delta x in your denominator. So step 2, subtract the second x-coordinate from the first x-coordinate. Here we have -1 minus 4, which would give you -5. Or if you did this point minus this point, you would have gotten 4 minus -1 in the denominator, which would be +5. And now step 3, when you divide the delta y, your numerator, by delta x, the denominator, you'll get the same slope for both of these. So you would have gotten -10 divided by -5, which is +2, or 10 divided by 5, which is also +2. Now you want to use this slope in either point provided in the point slope form to figure out the equation of the line that we are looking for. So we'll start by plugging in our slope of 2 in this first point to find the equation. So step 4, replace x1 with -1. X minus -1 will give you x plus 1. Y minus -7 will become y plus 7. We want to replace m with our slope 2. And now we have the information that we need to figure out the equation. So step 6, distribute this 2 to the x and to the 1. 2 times x will give you 2x. 2 times +1 will give you +2. And that leaves us with y minus -7, which is y plus 7, is equal to 2x plus 2. And to isolate this y, we want to get rid of this 7. So the last step, subtract 7 from both sides. 2 minus 7 will give you -5. So the equation of the line is 2x minus 5. Now if you use the second point instead of the first point, you will also get 2x minus 5. So if you use that point instead, if you go back to step 4, you would have replaced x2 with 4, giving you x minus 4. And you would have replaced y2 with 3, giving you y minus 3. Step 5 would have been to replace m with +2. And now we want to distribute this 2 to the x and -4. 2 times x gives you 2x. 2 times -4 gives you -8, leaving you with y minus 3 is equal to 2x minus 8. And now to isolate this y, we want to get rid of this -3, so we add 3 to both sides. -8 plus 3 is -5. So again, we got the equation y is equal to 2x minus 5. Question number 15. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 2, 0 and is parallel to y plus x is equal to -3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So the line we are looking for is parallel to y plus x is equal to -3. So the first thing we do is subtract x from both sides. This allows us to put the equation of this line in slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. So we want to do that because if the line we are looking for is parallel, once this is in slope-intercept form, then we know the line we are looking for is parallel to this line, which means that it has a slope of -1 also. So if we know the line we are looking for has a slope of -1, and it passes through the point 2, 0, you plug these two pieces of information into the point slope form to figure out the equation of this line. So step 2, replace x1 with 2, and replace y1 with 0. And then step 3, replace m with -1. Now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So we'll distribute this -1 for step 4. When we do so, we'll multiply times the x and the -2. -1 times x is -x. -1 times -2 is +2. So that leaves us with y is equal to -x plus 2. So this is the equation of the parallel line that we are looking for. Question number 16. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -1, -7 and is parallel to y minus 3x is equal to 1? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, add 3x to both sides. This removes the -3x from this side, isolating y, And now we have it in slope-intercept form. And if the line we are looking for is parallel to this line, then we know the line we are looking for has the same slope, which should be 3, the coefficient of x. And we know that this line travels through the point -1, -7. So we use the slope 3 and this point in the point slope form to find the equation of the line. So step 2, replace x1 with -1 and y1 with -7. Y minus -7 becomes y plus 7. X minus -1 becomes x plus 1. And then step 3, replace m with our slope 3. So now we have the information that we need to find the equation of the line. Step 4, distribute the 3 to each term, x and +1. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. So you wind up with y plus 7 is equal to 3x plus 3. To get rid of this 7, step 5, subtract 7 from both sides. 3 minus 7 is -4. So the equation of the line is y is equal to 3x minus 4. Question number 17. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -3, -2 and is parallel to y minus 2x is equal to 2? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, add 2x to both sides. This allows you to isolate y on the left side of the equation. And now we have it in y is equal to mx plus b form. So we see the slope of this line is 2, which means if the line we are looking for is parallel, it has the same slope, +2. And we know that it passes through the point -3, -2. So you use these two pieces of information and plug them in to the point slope form to find the equation of the line. So step 2, replace x1 with -3 and y1 with -2. Y minus -2 becomes y plus 2. X minus -3 becomes x plus 3. And now step 3, replace the slope m with 2. So now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So step 4, distribute the 2 to each term, x and +3. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is +6. So you wind up with y plus 2 is equal to 2x plus 6. And now to isolate y on the left side, subtract 2 from both sides. 6 minus 2 is +4. So the equation of the line is y is equal to 2x plus 4. Question number 18. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -1, 4 and is parallel to 2y plus 10x is equal to 4? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract 10x from both sides. That leaves you with 2y is equal to -10x plus 4. You want to isolate y, so you need to get rid of this coefficient 2. So step 2, divide both sides by 2, leaving you with y is equal to -10x divided by 2 is -5x. and positive 4 divided by 2 is positive 2. So the line we are looking for is parallel to this. Y is equal to negative 5x plus 2. And if they're parallel, that means their slopes are equivalent. So the line we are looking for has a slope of negative 5 and passes through the point negative 1, 4. So we use those two pieces of information and plug them into the point slope form to figure out the equation of this line. So step 3, replace x1 with negative 1 and y1 with 4. So we get y minus 4. X minus negative 1 is equivalent to x plus 1. And now replace m with our slope negative 5. And now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So step 5, distribute the negative 5 to each term. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. So we have y minus 4 is equal to negative 5x minus 5. And now step 6, add 4 to both sides to get rid of this negative 4. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. So the equation of the line is y is equal to negative 5x minus 1. Question number 19. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 0, 1 and is perpendicular to y minus 2x is equal to negative 3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, add 2x to both sides. This gets rid of the negative 2x on the left side, leaving you with just y. And on the right side, we have 2x minus 3. So if this line is perpendicular to the one that we are looking for, we know that the line we are looking for has a slope that is the negative reciprocal of this one. So m1 is 2, which means m2 is going to be negative 1 divided by this slope 2. So the slope of the line that we are looking for is negative 1/2. So we're going to use this slope and the point that they tell us the line passes through, which is 0, 1, in the point slope form to figure out the equation of this line. So step 3, replace x1 with 0 and y1 with 1. Step 4, replace m with negative 1/2. Now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So step 5, we'll distribute this negative 1/2 to each term in here. Negative 1/2 times 0 is 0, so we won't need to do that. But negative 1/2 times x is negative x over 2. 1 times x will give us x in the numerator. So now we have y minus 1 is equal to negative x over 2. So to isolate y, we want to add 1 to both sides. So we see the perpendicular line we are looking for is y is equal to negative x over 2 plus 1. Let's now have a look at question number 20. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 6, 6 and is perpendicular to y plus 3x over 4 is equal to 1? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract 3x over 4 from both sides of the equation. This allows you to isolate y on one side. And if we put it in slope-intercept form, the equation of this line is y is equal to negative 3x over 4 plus 1. The line we are looking for is perpendicular to this line, So this line has a slope of negative 3 over 4. And if the line we are looking for is the negative reciprocal of this, then we divide negative 1 by m1, negative 3/4. When we do so, we get negative 1 divided by negative 3/4. If you are dividing the numerator by a fraction, it is the same as multiplying this numerator by the reciprocal, which would be negative 4 over 3. So negative 1 times negative 4 over 3 becomes positive 4 over 3. So the slope of the line we are looking for is 4 over 3, and it passes through the point 6, 6. Plug these two pieces of information into the point slope form, and you will be able to figure out the equation of the line. So step 3, replace x1 with 6 and y1 with 6. Step 4, replace m with our slope 4/3. Now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So step 5, distribute this 4/3 to the x and the negative 6. 4 times x will give you 4x over 3. 4 times negative 6 will be negative 24 over 3. Negative 24 over 3 is negative 8. So you wind up with y minus 6 is equal to 4x over 3 minus 8. And now step 6, add 6 to both sides. Negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. So the equation of the perpendicular line is y is equal to 4x over 3 minus 2. Question number 21. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point negative 10, 4 and is perpendicular to y minus 5x is equal to negative 3? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, add 5x to both sides. That gives you y is equal to 5x minus 3. So the slope of this line is 5. Step 2, divide negative 1 by 5. That will allow us to figure out the slope of the line we're looking for. So negative 1 divided by 5 will give you negative 1/5. So if this is our slope, and we know it passes through the point negative 10, 4, then we can plug these two pieces of information into the point slope form to figure out the equation of the perpendicular line. So step 3, replace x1 with negative 10 and replace y1 with 4. And now step 4, replace m with negative 1/5. So now we have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. Step 5, distribute the negative 1/5 to each term, the x and 10. 1 times x will give you x. So you get negative x over 5. Negative 1 times 10 will give you negative 10 over 5. Negative 10 over 5 is equal to negative 2. So we have y minus 4 is equal to negative x over 5 minus 2. Step 6, add 4 to both sides to get rid of this negative 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is positive 2. So the equation of the perpendicular line we are looking for is y is equal to negative x over 5 plus 2. Question number 22. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 6, 8 and is perpendicular to y plus 3x over 2 is equal to 1? Pause the video, answer this question, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, subtract 3x over 2 from both sides. This allows you to isolate y on the left side. And on the right side, we have negative 3x over 2 plus 1. So for this line, the slope is negative 3/2, the coefficient of x. So now that we have the slope of our first line, step 2, divide negative 1 by m1. So we'll divide negative 1 by negative 3/2. Negative 1 divided by negative 3/2 is the same as multiplying negative 1 times negative 2/3, the reciprocal. You can multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. Negative 1 times negative 2/3 will give you positive 2/3. So this is the slope of the perpendicular line that we are looking for. And we know that this line passes through the point 6, 8. So we plug these two pieces of information into the point slope form to figure out the equation of this line. So step 3, replace x1 with 6 and y1 with 8. Step 4, replace m with 2/3. So we now have the information we need to figure out the equation of this line. So step 5, we'll distribute the 2/3 to each term. 2/3 times x will give us 2x over 3. 2/3 times negative 6 will give us 2 times negative 6, which is negative 12 over 3. Negative 12 over 3 is equal to negative 4. And now step 6, we'll add 8 to both sides, giving us negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4. So the equation of the perpendicular line we are looking for is y is equal to 2x over 3 plus 4. Let's now have a look at question number 23. Sketch y is equal to 3x plus 4. Pause the video, sketch this linear equation, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So when you sketch a line, I would recommend using -1, 0, and +1 for the x values. The first thing we'll do is we'll plug 3 different x values into the equation provided. Y is equal to 3x plus 4. We'll record those coordinates in a table of values, and then we'll take the table of values and plot our points. So step 1, plug 3 different x values into the equation. And step 2, record each xy coordinate in a table of values. So when we plug in -1 for x, we get 3 times -1, which is -3. -3 plus 4 is +1. So when x is -1, y has a value of 1. So that's our first point, -1, 1. We then plug in 0 for x. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. So when x is 0, y has a value of 4. And then the third value, we'll plug in 1 for x. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 4 is +7. So the third point we get is 1, 7. So these are 3 coordinates that we can plot onto our coordinate plane. And then the last thing we'll do is we'll draw a line through the points to get our sketch. So our first point is -1, 1. So we'll plot that point. Our second point is 0, 4. So we'll plot that. The next point is 1, 7. So now we have 3 points that are in a straight line. So we'll draw a line through those 3 points. And this would be the sketch of y is equal to 3x plus 4. Question number 24. Sketch y is equal to 2x minus 5. Pause the video, sketch this line, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, plug 3 different x values into the equation. In step 2, record each xy coordinate in a table of values. So for the 3 x values, we will again plug in -1, 0, and 1 so that we can sketch the line close to where the axes cross. So when x is -1, we get 2 times -1, which is -2. -2 minus 5 is equal to -7. So our first point is -1, -7. We then plug in 0 for x, and we get 2 times 0, which is 0. 0 minus 5 is equal to -5. So our second point is 0, -5. And our third point, we plug in x is equal to 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is equal to -3. So our third point is 1, -3. So now that we have our 3 points, the third step will be to plot these 3 points, and the last step will be to draw a line through the points. So our first point is -1, -7, so you plot that point. Then you have 0, -5, so you plot that point. Then we have 1, -3, so we plot that point. And we see that these points are on the same trajectory. So we know we have the right points. So we can draw a line through those points to get the sketch of y is equal to 2x minus 5. Let's take a look at question number 25. Sketch y is equal to -5x plus 3. Pause the video, sketch this line, and then press play when you are ready to begin. Step 1, plug 3 different x values into the equation. So I'll plug in -1, 0, and +1 for x. And step 2, we'll then record each xy coordinate in a table of values. So we have y is equal to -5x plus 3. So when we plug in x is equal to -1, we get -5 times -1, which is +5. +5 plus 3 is equal to +8. So when x is equal to -1, y is equal to +8. So that is our first point. Then we plug in 0 for x. -5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 3 is equal to 3. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 3. So that's our second coordinate. Then we plug in x is equal to 1. -5 times 1 is -5. -5 plus 3 is equal to -2. So our third point is +1, -2. And now that we have our 3 points, step 3, plot the 3 points. And step 4, draw a line through the 3 points. So you draw out a coordinate plane. You plot your first point, -1, +8. The second point, 0, 3. And the third point, 1, -2. You see the 3 points are on the same trajectory, so the 3 points are correct. So you draw a line through those 3 points, and you have the sketch of y is equal to -5x plus 3. Question number 26. Sketch y is less than or equal to -4x plus 2. Pause the video, sketch this inequality, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So for inequalities, the process will be very similar to sketching a line. You'll first need to start by changing the inequality sign to an equal sign. This allows you to go from an inequality to an equation. So from here, we can proceed as if we are sketching a line. But when we get to the last step, we will shade the area below that line, since the inequality we are sketching is less than, so the area below the line, or equal to. And since it's equal to, we'll use a straight line instead of a dotted line. So step 1, change the inequality sign to an equal sign. That gives you y is equal to negative 4x plus 2. We then want to plug 3 different x values into this equation, and that will give us 3 different coordinates that we can then record in a table of values. So when we plug in negative 1 for x, you get negative 4 times negative 1, which is positive 4. Positive 4 plus 2 is equal to positive 6. So when x is equal to negative 1, y is equal to 6. So that is the first coordinate that we write down. You then plug in 0 for x. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. So when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2. So that is the second coordinate. And then the third coordinate, when x is 1, we have negative 4 times 1, which is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 2 is equal to negative 2. So when x is equal to positive 1, y is equal to negative 2. So that is the third coordinate we write down. Now step 4, plot the 3 points. And step 5, draw a line through the 3 points. So you draw out your coordinate plane, your axes. You plot the first point, negative 1, positive 6. You plot the second point, 0, 2. And you plot the third point, 1, negative 2. You see that the 3 points are on the same trajectory, so your calculations were correct. So now you draw a line through the points. And then step 6, shade the area below the line. So if this is our line, you're going to shade on one side of it. If you look here at the y-axis, at this point, these values are greater than these values. So since this side is less than, you know you are shading this side of the line. So this is the sketch for y is less than or equal to negative 4x plus 2. Question number 27. Sketch y is greater than 7x minus 3. Pause the video, sketch this inequality, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So when we get to the last step, since we have y is greater than, instead of a straight line, we'll be using a dotted line. If it's equal to, you use a straight line since those points are included. But since it's greater than, those points are not included, so we'll have a dotted line instead of a straight line. But the first step of this process is still the same. So step 1, change the inequality sign to an equal sign. This gives you a linear equation that you can plot just as you would a regular line. So step 2, plug 3 different x values into the equation. And step 3, record each xy coordinate in a table of values. So when you plug in negative 1 for x, you get 7 times negative 1, which is negative 7. Negative 7 minus 3 is equal to negative 10. So when x is negative 1, y is negative 10. So that's the first coordinate we record. When we plug in 0 for x, 7 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 3 is equal to negative 3. So when x is 0, y is negative 3. So that's the second coordinate. And when x is equal to 1, 7 times 1 is 7. 7 minus 3 is equal to positive 4. So when x is 1, y is 4. So that's our third coordinate. Now we have the 3 coordinates we want to plot, step 4. And then step 5, we will draw a dotted line through the points. So sketch out your axes, and then plot the first point, -1, -10. Plot the second point, 0, -3. And plot the third point, 1, 4. We see our 3 points are on the same trajectory. So we can draw a dotted line through the points. In step 6, shade the area above the dotted line. Since we want to sketch the inequality y is greater than 7x minus 3. Again, if you look here, where it crosses the y-axis, the y values increase as you go up. So that is how you know you need to shade this side of the dotted line. So this would be the sketch of y is greater than 7x minus 3. And the last question of this practice set, number 28. Sketch y is greater than or equal to -3x plus 5. Pause the video, sketch this inequality, and then press play when you are ready to begin. So our final sketch will have a solid line instead of a dotted line. Since the inequality is greater than or equal to, the straight line that represents y is equal to -3x plus 5 is included in this inequality. So we will shade the area above this line, and since it's equal to, we will use a straight line instead of a dotted line. But first, step 1, change the inequality sign to an equal sign. This gives you y is equal to -3x plus 5. We then plug 3 different x values into the equation and record each coordinate in a table of values. So when x is equal to -1, you have -3 times -1, which is +3. 3 plus 5 is equal to +8. So when x is -1, y is equal to 8. So that's our first coordinate. When x is equal to 0, we get -3 times 0, which is 0. 0 plus 5 is equal to 5. So our second coordinate is 0, 5. And then if x is equal to 1, -3 times 1 is -3. -3 plus 5 is +2. So when x is 1, y is +2. So that's our third point. Step 4, plot the 3 points. And step 5, draw a line through the 3 points. So you sketch out your axes. Plot the first point, -1, +8. Plot the second point, 0, 5. And plot the third point, 1, 2. You then draw a line through those 3 points. And since we are looking to sketch y is greater than or equal to -3x plus 5, step 6, shade the area above the line. If you look at the y-intercept, this side of the line is greater than this side. So that's how you know you shade this part. And that wraps up practice set number 1. Should you have any follow-up questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Or you can contact a tutor in your neighborhood by visiting bookandtable.com or by downloading our app on the App Store. Peace.